Hi students, good morning. How do you do? I think so. You will be in safe at home. Please don't go outside. Don't eat outside foods also. I think so. Yesterday you wrote very well. Objective test. Yes, no? Somebody they are not writing properly. Anyhow, don't worry. But today onwards you can prepare properly and you can score good marks. Okay, na? Now I will go to a new chapter, that is gravitation. First of all, here, what is gravitation? What is gravitation? Gravitation is one of the fundamental force in nature. There are basically four kinds of forces will be there. There are four kinds of forces will be there. First one is gravitational force. Second one is electromagnetic force. And third one is strong interaction force. And fourth one is weak interaction force. First one is strong interaction force. Again, first one is gravitational force, second one is electromagnetic force, third one is strong interaction force, and fourth one is weak interaction force. Among these all forces, gravitational force is one of the fundamental forces because it is valid only up to short distance only. It does not valid for large distances. Okay, and also one more thing, in which case it is applicable, the distance of the objects is nearly 10 power minus 15 meters only, it will be valid. The distance of the objects is nearly 10 power minus 15 meters. Until this distance only, gravitational force will act. If it increases, the gravitational force does not act. And also one more thing, it is one of the weakest force in nature. It is one of the weakest force in nature. Why? Because it is weakest force in nature. Because only one reason, that is gravitational force does not valid for long distances, and also it is valid only for two massive objects. It does not valid at the same time 3 or 4 objects. Okay, na? 3 or more objects. So that's why gravitational force is one of the fundamental force in nature. With the help of the gravitation, we can able to find age of the rocks, birth of the stars, age of the rocks, birth of the stars, and evolution of the moon around the sun, etc. These all will happen because of gravitation. Okay, na? Because of gravitation. See here, the range of the gravitational force is only 1. So that's why it is called a short range force. Gravitational force is a short range force. Its range is 1. The range of the electromagnetic force is nearly 10 power 34 times. The range of the strong interaction force is 10 power 38 and weak interaction force is 36. These both strong and weak interaction forces are called nuclear forces. These both strong and weak interaction forces are called nuclear forces. Okay, na? See this one, then compared to strong electromagnetic force, strong interaction and weak interaction forces, these are nearly 10 power 34, 10 power 38, 10 power 36, but its range is only 1. Only 1. This is the brief introduction about gravitation. Okay, na? Now I will go to next topic. Now see this one. Now I will discuss about Newton's universal law of gravitation. What is Newton's universal law of gravitation? See this one. But remaining we have so many laws will be there. Simply those are called Coulomb's inverse square law for charges, Coulomb's inverse square law for magnetic poles, like that. But here it is Newton's universal law of gravitation. What is Newton's universal law of gravitation? That means universal means it is valid throughout the universe. This law is valid throughout the universe. So that's why it is called universal law of gravitation. According to universal law, that means Newton's universal law, consider two objects. These two objects having masses m1 and m2. These two objects having masses m1 and m2. Here m1 comma m2 we can take it as point masses. We can take it as point masses. That means those are very very small in size. Or otherwise you can take it as some spherical objects depending upon this shape. Okay na? Spherical objects. Or those can be treated as one of the large objects. Okay na? See here. Now I am considering two objects. These two objects having masses m1 and m2. Here m1 and m2, these two are separated by distance r. R is the separation between two masses. In between two masses, the force of attraction. Gravitation means only attraction. It's not repulsion. Only attraction. Keep this point in your mind. So here, see. Consider two objects. These two objects having masses m1 and m2. These two objects having masses m1 and m2. These two are separated by distance r, and the force of attraction between two objects is F. Here see, m1 will exert a force on m2. That means F12. At the same time, m2 also will exert a force on m1. m2 also will exert a force on m1. So that's why that is m21, F21. The force acting on the F12 means the force acting on the second body due to first one, that is F12. Similarly, F21 means the force acting on the first body due to second one. And F12 అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది, ఫోర్స్ యాక్టింగ్ ఆన్ ది సెకండ్ బాడీ ఎవరి వల్ల, ఫస్ట్ బాడీ వల్ల, అందుకని F12. అలాగే F21 ఏంటి ఇక్కడ, ది ఫోర్స్ యాక్టింగ్ ఆన్ ది ఫస్ట్ బాడీ డ్యూ టు సెకండ్ వన్, దట్ ఈస్ F21. So here, according to Coulomb's inverse square law, the force of attraction between two masses is directly proportional to product of its masses. The force of attraction between two masses is directly proportional to product of its masses, that is F is directly proportional to m1 m2. F is directly proportional to m1 and m2. And also one more thing, the F is inversely proportional to 1 by r square. This is equation 1. This is equation 2. This is equation 1. This is equation 2. When from 1 and 2 we have, from 1 and 2 comma we have F proportional to, in both LHS force is same, in RHS only variables will be there. So F proportional to m1 m2 by r square. F proportional to m1 m2 by r square. When the proportionality constant changes, F equal to capital G into m1 m2 by r square. F equal to capital G into m1 m2 by r square. So here G is called the, capital G is a universal gravitational constant. Here G is a proportionality constant which is called universal law of gravitation. Now we can see. So F equal to capital G into m1 m2 by r square, that is G is called a proportionality constant which is called universal law of gravitation. So its value is capital G equal to 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. Newton meter square per kg square. Its value is constant. While when you are solving the numericals also, we have to apply this value. Instead of capital G, you have to apply 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. This is Newton's universal law of gravitation. Now see, we know that F equal to capital G into m1 m2 by r square. F equal to capital G into m1 m2 by r square. Now I am going to discuss about definition of capital G. Definition of capital G. What is the definition of capital G? That means universal gravitation constant. See here. See. Now we know that F equal to capital G into m1 m2 by r square. F equal to capital G into m1 m2 by r square. If the masses of the two objects having unit mass, having unity, that means 1 kg, and the separation between two objects is 1 meter. Separation between two objects is 1 meter. Then F equal to capital G into 1 into 1 by 1 square. So 1 get cancelled. Then G equal to F. So universal gravitation constant may be defined as if the two objects having unit in mass and the separation also having unit in meter. Now the universal gravitation constant is equal to the force between two objects. This is the definition of the capital G. So that means G equal to F. This is the definition of capital G. Now see the dimensional formula of capital G. What is the dimensional formula of capital G? See this one. We know that F equal to capital G into capital M into small m by r square. F equal to capital G into capital M into small m by r square. Now G equal to take a cross multiplication, Fr square divided by capital M into small m. Now G equal to force. Force as a SI unit is kg meter second power minus 2. R means unit of the distance, that is meter square, by mass, capital M into small m. That means both are having masses only. Two objects having different masses. So that's why kg into kg. Kg cancel. Then remaining is in the denominator kg is there. Now we can bring into numerator. It becomes as kg power minus 1 meter cube s power minus 2. Capital G equal to kg power minus 1 meter cube s power minus 2. So that's why its dimensional formula is m power minus 1 L cube t power minus 2. M power minus 1 L cube t power minus 2. This is the dimensional formula of capital G. This is the dimensional formula of capital G. Once again I am telling, mass as a dimensional formula kg, kg as a dimensional formula is m power m, kg as a power minus 1. So that's why it is minus 1. Meter, unit of the meter is length, that is L cube. Time, unit of the dimensional formula time is t, that is t power minus 2. And also one more thing, the universal gravitation constant is a scalar quantity. Why? Because it has only magnitude. It has only magnitude but no direction. If you go to anywhere, its value is same, that is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per Newton meter square per kg square. This is the value of capital G. And also one more thing, the universal gravitation constant is independent of the medium of the particles. See, this kind of bits they are asking in our objective test. Okay na? Again I am telling to you, universal gravitation constant, that means G is independent of the medium of the particles. Okay na? Capital G is independent of the intervening of the medium of the particles in any medium, either air medium or water liquid medium or any other medium. Okay, na? Any gas medium, air, water or any dense material like honey, oil, whatever it may be, wherever its value is same. So that's why it is a scalar quantity, and also it is independent of the medium of the particles. Okay, na? It is independent. It is always independent quantity. It does not, capital G does not depend on any other factors such as force, distance and mass. If the mass of the object is small or large, if the mass of the object is small or large, but G is same, it never changes. Okay, na? See this one. Now I will discuss about Coulomb's inverse square law in a vector form or in a vector notation. Generally, if you take two objects, these two objects having masses m1 and m2, these two are separated by distance r. Now see, in between them the force acting between them is F. For example, here if the first body will exert a force on second body, first body will exert a force on second body, that's why we can write it as the first body will exert a force on second one, that is F12. Again the second body also will exert a force on first one, that is F21, but both are acting in opposite direction. So that's why F12 equal to minus F21, which forms the action reaction pair, which forms the action reaction pair. That means action equal to minus reaction. So which is applicable for Newton's third law. Already explained to you. Okay, now which is Newton's third law. So F12 we can write it as F12 equal to capital Z into M1 into M2 by R cube into R bar. R cube into R bar. R bar is a unit vector, or simply we can write it as R cap. Okay, na? Or otherwise F21 equal to capital G into M2 into M1 by R cube into R cap. R cube into R cap. So this is the notation of the universal law of gravitation in vector notation. In vector notation. Now see this one. Now next I will go to about principle of superposition. What is principle of superposition? In a starting class only I told you one point. Universal law of gravitation is valid for only for two objects. Only it does not valid three or more objects at same time. So that's why consider two objects, that is M1, M2. These two objects are separated by distance r1 in between two masses. The force acting is F1. For M2, if we add another mass, that is M3, the separation between M2 and M3 is R2. M2 and M3 is R2. So that's why the force acting between them is F2. Similarly, if we add another body, that is for M3, so M3, M4, M3 and M4. So for in between two masses, the separation is R3 and force between them is F3. Until so on, if we add number of masses, see, now the force equal to, net force equal to, for first two objects M1, M2, the force is capital G into M1, M2 by R1 square plus capital G into M2, M3 by R2 square plus capital G into M3, M4 by R3 square plus so on. So this is the net force. See this one, capital G into M1, M2 by R1 square is nothing but F1. Similarly for F2, next F3 plus so on. So according to principle of superposition, the sum of the individual forces. What is the sum of the individual forces? That is F1, F2 and F3. If we add these all three, the sum of the the sum of the individual forces is equal to the net force. That is the principle of the superposition. Simply it is called superposition principle. The net force is equal to sum of the individual forces. That is nothing but principle of superposition. And also we can observe that in next topic how the force is acting for multiple objects or number of masses. See this one, consider a particle. This particle has a mass m. M is at a distance r1, there is another mass is there, that is m1. At a distance r2, there is another mass, that is m2. At separation r3. Now see this one. Now I will go to about some applications. We know that F equal to capital G into m1 m2 by r square. If we have masses remains constant, that means m1 comma m2 constant. Now F proportional to 1 by r square. F proportional to 1 by r square. If we have two forces, that is F1 and F2, and we have two distances R1, R2. And we have two distances R1 and R2. So, now the force between them is given by F1 by F2 equal to R2 square by R1 square. Simply by taking cross multiplication, F1 into R1 square equal to F2 into R2 square. F1 into R1 square equal to F2 into R2 square. Okay now, this is the principle of symmetry. Next see. See here, now if you consider two masses m1 and m2, in m1 and m2 the force acting between them is F1, and if you take another two masses, that is m1 dash and m2 dash, and those are having same separation. Now the ratio of the force is given by, when F proportional to, when R remains constant, F is rightly proportional to m1 m2. So F1 by F2 equal to m1 m2 by m1 dash into m2 dash. Okay now, we have four masses m1 m2 having a force F1, and we have another two masses, that is m1 dash and m2 dash. So that is force having F2. So the ratio of the force is given by, when the separation is remains constant, the ratio of the forces is given by F1 by F2 equal to m1 m2 by m1 dash into m2 dash. This is condition. Okay now? Next see. For example here, consider two spherical bodies. These two spherical bodies are separated by distance t. From their centers, its separation is r and its radius is r. These two are spheres. Now the force between them is given by, here in this case we are considering the spheres. Sphere having a mass equal to volume into density. Sphere having a mass equal to volume into density. So volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi r cube into rho. Mass equal to 4/3 pi r cube into rho. So when the mass is equal to 4/3 pi r cube into rho, so both are having masses m. Now F is equal to capital G into m1 into m2 by d square. Now F equal to capital G into m1 4/3 pi into r cube into rho. Similarly m2. Again 4 that pi into capital Z into r cube into rho divided by d square. See here, both objects having density rho and separation is r cube. Now f proportional to r cube into r cube, r power 6 by separation is d square. You have a doubt, what is that? What is r and what is d? R is the only for radius of the sphere. Radius and distance both are different. Here d is very much greater than r. That means distance is very much greater than radius of the spheres. Okay now? So that's why f proportional to r power 6 by d square when these two objects having same density. If the same case, in the same case, if we consider the same sphere, that sphere having a radius r, this also having radius r, and separation is, if you neglect the internal distance, now separation is r. Now f equal to capital Z into m1 m2 by r square. Similarly mass equal to 4 pi r cube. So f is rightly proportional to r cube into r cube by r square. R square in r cube, r square will cancel, remaining 1 is there. So f is rightly proportional to r power 4. In which case we had to apply this condition. If they are given both objects having same masses and same density, then f is rightly proportional to 4th power of its radius. Okay now, if you neglect the internal radius of the, if you consider the internal radius. Okay now, this is the one of the application.